The sky over Sector 9 burned violet with energy storms. Once peaceful space had become dangerous. No one knew why the alien empires had suddenly begun moving their fleets again. But everyone on the human side knew one thing: something was coming. Captain Eli Brandt stood at the edge of the forward observation deck of the Saberline, Earth's last long-range diplomatic cruiser. His hands were behind his back, boots planted firm, but his eyes were distant. There was something wrong. He felt it in his chest like a heavy stone. The stars were no longer quiet. The galaxy had been under the peace code for almost 300 years. The war between humans and the Vayari Empire had ended with a blood treaty. The Vayari were proud, tall beings, reptilian in skin, but graceful and intelligent beyond belief. At the center of their rule was one woman, Queen Zaelthira. She hadn't aged a day in centuries. People whispered she was immortal. And now she had summoned Eli. Out of nowhere her message had arrived. Send one human to the heart of the Vayari throne. No guards, no weapons, only him. People at the Human Council had argued. Some said it was a trap, others said it was a chance. In the end, Eli had volunteered. Or maybe he'd always known this was coming. The Vayari ship arrived silently. No lights, no weapons. It hovered in space like a ghost. The doors opened, and Eli stepped inside. He didn't look back. Now he stood in a quiet chamber, silver walls, glowing vines hanging from the ceiling, and strange purple light that pulsed with every breath. There were no guards, no weapons, just silence. Then she appeared. Queen Zaelthira didn't walk. She glided. Her long robe flowed behind her like water. Her eyes were golden, bright as stars. Her voice was soft but filled with power. "You are human," she said. Eli nodded. "Captain Eli Brandt," she tilted her head. "And yet, you feel like something else." He didn't answer. He watched her closely. She was stunning, beautiful, yes, but something deeper. There was pain behind her eyes, long years, heavy secrets. "I called you here," she said, walking closer, "because a storm is coming. One that will burn galaxies. The peace code is dying." "Why?" Eli asked. "Because peace is built on fear," she whispered. "And fear fades." She sat on a throne made of light. "I have kept balance for centuries, but I cannot hold it anymore. The council is restless. The other empires want blood. They want conquest. I must make a move." Eli waited. She looked at him and said the last thing he expected. "I offer you a wish." He frowned. "A wish?" "One wish. Anything. And in return, I will make a move. Your wish will guide the next step of the Vayari Empire." It sounded like madness, but her voice was deadly serious. "You could ask for weapons, for protection, for the destruction of your enemies, or for power beyond your imagination. Say it, and I will grant it." Eli stepped forward. "Why me?" She smiled, but there was no joy in it. "Because you are not like the others. You have killed, but not with hatred. You have led, but not with pride. You still care." He looked into her eyes, and something inside him shifted. He could feel it. This wasn't just a political game. This was personal. And then slowly he understood. She was tired. She wanted to be chosen for once in her long life. She didn't want to rule or fight or give orders. She wanted to be seen. "You really mean it?" he asked. "Anything?" She nodded once. Eli took a deep breath. The fate of humanity. The power of an alien empire. It all balanced on his next words. "I choose you," he said. The silence that followed was like the vacuum of space. The queen didn't move. Her golden eyes widened slightly. Her lips parted, but no words came. "I could have asked for power," Eli said softly. "But you've been alone for too long. I saw it the moment you looked at me." Her voice trembled. "You choose me?" He nodded. Something strange happened. The glowing vines on the ceiling flared bright. The floor shimmered. The air itself changed, and for the first time in 1,000 years, the queen's perfect mask cracked. A single tear fell from her eye and vanished before it hit the ground. She looked away quickly. "You do not understand what you have done." "Maybe not," Eli said, "but I meant it." He didn't expect her to fall into his arms or kiss him. He didn't expect anything, really. But what she said next made his skin crawl. "You just turned an empire," she whispered. "And the galaxy will never forgive you." Far beyond that chamber, the Vayari warships began to shift formation. And deep in the blackness between stars, something ancient began to wake. The chamber darkened as the queen rose from her throne. Her steps were slow, almost unsure. For the first time in centuries, Queen Zalthira looked. Shaken, she stopped a few feet from Eli. Her voice, once calm and powerful, now carried something else: emotion. "No one has ever chosen me," she said. "Not for who I am, only for what I offer." Eli said nothing. He didn't know what to say. He wasn't sure why he had said it, only that it felt right. She circled him slowly. "Do you even understand what your choice means? You now carry the weight of a throne you've never sat on. You've moved the heart of an empire without knowing its blood price." "I didn't come here to play games," he said. "You gave me a choice. I made it." She paused behind him. "Then you must stand by it." Suddenly, a deep vibration shook the chamber. The walls pulsed. Lights flickered. A voice spoke through the air in a sharp alien dialect. "Vayari High Command. Emergency signal from the council hall. Intrusion detected. Suspicion of treason." Eli looked at the queen. Her face was cold now. Sharp again. "They think I've been compromised," she said. "You mean because of me?" he asked. She turned, walking quickly toward the glowing archway. "You're not just a guest anymore. You're the reason they'll come." Eli followed her. "Then let them." She stopped. "They will not come to talk, human. They will come to kill." Outside the chamber, a massive balcony overlooked a glowing sea of violet clouds. But what caught Eli's eye were the massive black ships in the distance. They were moving fast. Their lights were red. Their shields active. The queen waved her hand. A screen formed in the air, showing Counselor Vassin, one of the Vayari warlords. His eyes were burning. "Queen Zalthira," he said. "The human presence is unauthorized. You will surrender him at once for questioning." She didn't blink. "He is here by my command. You've broken the peace code. You've invited an outsider into the heart of our empire." "He is not an outsider," she said coldly. "He is my chosen." The counselor's face twisted. "Blasphemy. You dare invoke the right of union with a lesser species?" "I invoked nothing," she said. "He made a choice." The screen vanished. The sky outside cracked with lightning. A sonic boom followed. Eli's voice was calm. "They're going to attack, aren't they?" She nodded. "Unless we leave, now?" He looked at her. "You're the queen. Can't you just order them to stand down?" "Not anymore," she said. "Your choice changed everything. If I protect you, I stand against them. And if I hand you over, I break my word. Either way, war begins today." Eli exhaled slowly. "Then let's run." She touched the air again. A platform rose beneath their feet, glowing beneath them. They shot upward. Through the palace silver halls, golden domes, ancient tapestries blurring past them in seconds. They stopped at a hangar. Sleek crafts lined the bay, guarded by a few loyal Vayari soldiers who looked at the queen with concern. She pointed to the black one, small, fast, built for stealth. Eli climbed in behind her. "You sure you want to do this?" She didn't answer, just activated the controls. The ship roared to life. As they lifted off, alarms blared behind them. Missiles locked. Defense tower shifted. Eli turned. They're going to shoot us down. Not if I blind them first, she whispered. A wave of light exploded from the ship. Everything went white. Then black. Then stars. They vanished into hyperspace. For a long moment, there was only silence. The queen leaned back, her eyes closed. Eli looked at her, seeing not a ruler, but someone who had just lost her kingdom. You all right? He asked quietly. She nodded slowly. You don't understand what you've done. I chose you. That's all. That's not all, she said. You didn't just choose me. You declared me worthy of being chosen. In front of an empire built on pride. She opened her eyes. They will come for you. And they will come for me. But worse, some may come to follow us. Eli raised a brow. Why would that be worse? Because I'm not sure I can lead anymore, she said. Not as they expect. Me too. I've spent too long hiding behind power. Eli looked out the window at the stars flying past. Then maybe it's time for something different. She looked at him. Are all humans this foolish? Just the good ones. She laughed softly. It was the first time she truly smiled. But far behind them, the Vayari fleet was rising, not just for war, but for a hunt. The ship cruised through the folds of hyperspace like a shadow in a storm. Eli sat still, his hand gripping the edge of his seat. The lights inside flickered with the rhythm of their movement. They had escaped for now, but he knew it wouldn't. Queen Zaelthira sat in silence beside him. Her elegant fingers hovered over the controls, but her eyes weren't focused on the path ahead. Her mind was somewhere else. Somewhere heavier. Eli broke the silence. Where are we going? A place I haven't returned to in over 200 years, she said quietly. It was once my refuge before I became queen. No one should be able to track us there. He studied her profile. There was a softness in her voice that hadn't been there before. She no longer spoke like royalty. She spoke like someone unsure of tomorrow. You think they'll follow us anyway? I know they will, she said. The Vayari hate change more than they hate war. And you've brought both. Ailey leaned back and stared at the ceiling. I didn't come to start a rebellion. No, she said. But your choice was the spark, one simple decision. And now I'm not their queen anymore. Not to them. I'm just a woman who dared to be seen. The ship jolted slightly. Eli looked up. What was that? We're dropping out of hyperspace, she said. Hold on. The stars stretched, then snapped back. Before them was a small blue-green moon orbiting a dead planet. It had thick clouds, heavy mountains, and no signs of life. This doesn't look like a refuge, Eli said. That's the point. They descended into the clouds. The ship moved carefully between jagged cliffs and icy winds. Finally, a wide metallic structure came into view, half buried in rock, long forgotten. She landed the ship and stood up. Follow me. They stepped into the old outpost. It smelled like rust and silence. The walls were covered in moss and dust, but the core system still hummed. She touched a wall and the room lit up dimly, revealing ancient Vayari designs. Long tables, data towers, crates filled with artifacts. I lived here during the Great Rebuilding era, she said. After the last uprising, before I took the throne. This was where I planned peace. Eli walked past a broken console. And now it's where we hide? For now, she said. She led him into a smaller chamber. It had once been a private room. There were old data pads, pictures etched into glass, even a soft bed made from folded synth fur. This was your room? She nodded. Strange, isn't it? A queen with a room like this. Eli sat on the bed. Actually, it's the first real thing I've seen about you. She looked down, then sat across from him. For a while, neither spoke. Then she said, Do you regret it? No, you could have chosen power, ships, defense grids for Earth. 1,000 things that would have made you a legend. But instead, you chose me. I didn't come here to be a legend, Eli said. I came here to stop a war. And maybe save someone who didn't even know she needed saving. She stared at him. Her golden eyes held more emotion than words ever could. Suddenly, a soft beep echoed through the room. Her wristband blinked red. She stood quickly and activated a screen. A warning appeared. Unauthorized long-range scanners were sweeping the moon. They found us, Eli said. No, not them, not yet. She turned a dial. This signature is different. Smaller, human. Aelin narrowed his eyes. Wait, human? A voice crackled through the system. Captain Brandt, this is Commander Sarah Kwan of the Earth Defense Ring. We received an emergency ping from your beacon. Are you alive? Eli stepped closer. Kwan, how the hell? We tracked your signal once it reappeared near Vayari. Space, we've been shadowing their movements. When we saw their fleets shift, we knew something was wrong. We followed the trail. Zale Thera stepped into view. You must leave. The Vayari High Command will detect your ship soon. They are hunting both of us. Kwan's voice paused. Then, the Queen? You're with her? I am, Eli said. You realize what this looks like, right? The enemy queen and a human officer vanishing together. This is warbait, Eli. I know, but it's not what it looks like. I made a choice. She didn't trap me. I chose her. There was a silence. Then Sarah said, then get ready. Earth Command wants answers. But more than that, they want to know what side she's really on. Zale Thera looked at Eli. This is where it begins, not escape. Not peace. This is the test. Eli nodded. Then let's pass it. Outside, the winds grew stronger. And far above the clouds, ships began to gather. The outpost began to hum with life as Zale Thera moved swiftly through the old corridors. Her hands activated. Dormant systems that hadn't been touched in decades. Screens lit up. Shields hummed. Sensors pulsed through the ground like echoes in a cave. Eli followed close behind. How long before the Vayari fleet finds this place? Not long, she said. But we don't need long. We only need a window. A window for what? To speak the truth, she said, turning sharply. To show your people and mine what really happened. Before the first shot is fired. Eli stopped. They don't want truth. They want blame. Then we give them something else, she replied. Something they can't ignore. She opened a sealed chamber at the far end of the base. Inside stood a tall silver machine shaped like a spire, its surface marked with old symbols. This is the voice column, she explained. It was used during the War of Red Suns to broadcast messages across all star systems in real time. You want to talk to the galaxy? Yes, she said. Before they can lie for us, we tell the story ourselves. Eli stepped forward, looking up at the column. They'll try to stop it. They will fail, she said firmly. Because this time, I'm not speaking as queen. I'm speaking as a woman who was chosen by a human, and who chose him back. Eli met her eyes. Are you sure? No, she whispered, but I've never been more ready. She placed her palm on the base of the device. It lit up with blue light, spinning symbols around her arm. Then she turned to Eli. Stand with me. He nodded and stepped onto the platform beside her. They both looked into the lens. Begin transmission, she commanded. The light around them pulsed once, twice, and then projected their image. Across the stars, citizens of the Vayari Empire, Zale Thera began. And humans of Earth, my name is Zale Thera. I have been your queen for centuries. Today, I speak to you not as your ruler, but as someone who has finally been seen. She paused. Her voice didn't shake. War is coming. Not because we want it, but because those in power fear change. They fear the bond that has formed between our kinds. Between me and this human. She turned slightly. Eli stepped forward. I am Captain Eli Brandt. I was sent to meet the Queen alone. I was given a chance to make one wish. I didn't wish for power or weapons. I chose her. Because I saw something in her that no one else seemed to see. Zalthira continued. I have broken no laws. I offered peace through honesty. And yet, now I am hunted. For choosing love over fear. For allowing a new path to form. Ali looked into the lens. We're not asking you to agree with us. We're asking you to think for yourselves. Before the warships fire. Before the sky burns. Ask yourselves, who really fears the truth? The signal pulsed one last time, and then the device powered. Down. There was silence in the chamber. Do you think anyone will believe it? Eli asked. They don't have to believe it now, Zalthira replied. They only need to doubt what they were told. Doubt is the first crack. Just then, alarms screamed. They rushed to the control room. A massive Vayari battleship had entered orbit, followed by a squad of fighters. They weren't broadcasting warnings. They were locking targets. A human fleet blinked into view seconds later, led by Commander Quan. They're both here, Eli said. And they're pointing weapons at each other. Quan's voice came through the channel. We picked up your transmission. You just made yourself a galactic target. Zalthira responded. Then it's time to see if your kind really believes in peace or just in pretending. But something strange happened. Instead of opening fire, both fleets held their positions, and then one of the Vayari warships broke formation and began broadcasting. This is Commander Jertan of the Vayari Third Arm. We have seen the message. We do not recognize the Queen's actions as treason. We recognize them as truth. Eli blinked. Wait, what? More ships shifted. Another broadcast followed, then another. Some Vayari ships even powered down their weapons. Quan's voice came through. Looks like you got their attention. Zalthira looked stunned. I thought they would hate me. They still might, Eli said, smiling. But maybe not all of them. In that moment, it felt like the war might stop before it started. But then a piercing sound ripped through the station. An explosion. The walls shook. Eli was thrown against the console. A new voice screamed over the comms. Unknown vessel just jumped in. Unauthorized fire. They're shooting at both sides. Zalthira looked up at the screen. That's not Vayari, and not human. Eli stared at the dark ship approaching with red symbols none of them recognized. Then who the hell is it? The dark vessel pushed through the clouds like a blade, cutting through the atmosphere with impossible speed. Its surface shimmered with shifting metal plates, and red symbols glowed like they were alive. Neither the Vayari nor the humans had ever seen a ship like this before. Eli stood beside Zalthira in the control room. His jaw tightened as he watched the screen. That's not one of ours, he said. She shook her head slowly. No, that is something much older. Something that was supposed to be extinct. Outside, the unknown ship fired again. Bright red energy beams struck both the human and Vayari fleets. A Vayari destroyer exploded. One of Earth's defense frigates was hit, spinning out of formation. The comms screamed with chaos. Commander Quan's voice came through, strained. We've got no identification. Our systems can't lock onto it. What is that thing? Zalthira turned pale. It's a collector ship. Eli glanced at her. A what? She stepped back from the screen. Long ago, before the Vayari ruled, the galaxy had another master, the Collectors. They moved silently between worlds, stealing technology, people, entire civilizations. They vanished during the last cleansing war. We thought they were gone forever. Well, Eli said, gripping the edge of the console, they're back. The collector ship deployed 3 smaller crafts. They swooped down, spinning with strange circular wings and pulsing cores. They didn't communicate. They just moved like predators sensing weakness. They're not here for war, Zalthira whispered. They're here to harvest. One of the smaller crafts dived toward the old outpost. An alarm shrieked through the base. The outer wall exploded. Metal and stone crumbled as fire and smoke flooded the lower chamber. Eli grabbed Zale-Theris. "Arm, we have to move." She didn't argue. They ran through the corridors, boots slamming against the metal floors. Another explosion shook the structure. Dust fell from the ceiling. Red sparks flickered along the walls like veins crawling. Through steel, they reached the escape chamber, where the black stealth ship still waited, but standing between them and the ship were two of the collector drones. They weren't humanoid. They floated just above the ground, their bodies tall and thin, wrapped in black armor with glowing red faces that flickered like flames behind glass. Long mechanical limbs ended in sharp claws, twitching in the air. Eli raised his weapon. "Can they be stopped?" Zale-Theris pulled out a thin blade from her robe. Not for long. The first drone rushed forward with inhuman speed. Eli fired. The blast struck its chest butt. The creature didn't fall. It just kept coming. Zale ducked under its strike and slashed her blade across its midsection. Sparks flew. The creature screeched, then collapsed, twitching. Eli turned just in time to catch the second one charging. He rolled aside, shooting. Again, this time directly into the glowing eye. The drone jerked and dropped to the ground. For a second, there was silence. Then Zale grabbed his hand. "Go!" They rushed into the ship. Zale launched the engines. The platform cracked below them as the base started to fall apart. As they took off, Eli looked back through the rear display. The outpost exploded behind them. A piece of their past gone. "They're not just attacking us," he said. "They're cleaning up, erasing proof." Zale-Theris' hands flew across the controls. "We have to warn both fleets. If they think this is a Vayari or human attack, they'll destroy each other before realizing the truth." Eli opened the comms. "This is Captain Eli Brandt, broadcasting to all human and Vayari ships. You are under attack by a third force. Repeat, this is not Vayari. This is not Earth. You must not engage each other." Commander Kwan responded, her voice filled with static. "We see them now. Targeting them, but they're too fast." Jurtin, the Vayari commander, followed. "We confirm." Redirecting weapons. The collector ship unleashed a wave of energy that knocked out most of the smaller vessel systems. Lights died. Engines failed. Dozens of ships drifted. Zale-Theris shouted, "They're jamming us, cutting communications and guidance." "What do we do?" Eli asked. She turned to him, and for a moment, the fire in her eyes returned. "We give them something they've never seen before," she said. "A human and a queen fighting together." She punched the controls. The stealth ship darted upward and twisted through the mess of enemy drones. Eli manned the secondary weapons. "You're not a queen right now, Zale. You're a pilot. And you're not a captain," she replied, smiling. "You're my gunner." He grinned and locked onto the nearest drone. "Let's remind them that humans don't go down easy." The small ship dove toward the collector fleet. They weren't running anymore. They were going to fight. And from the looks of it, they weren't the only ones. On both sides of the battlefield, human and Vayari ships were shifting slowly, hesitantly toward unity. Not to protect themselves, but to protect them. The stealth ship spun through the burning sky like a needle threading chaos. Around them, human cruisers and Vayari warships fought side by side, not as allies. Not yet, but as survivors of a common threat. Inside the cockpit, Eli gritted his teeth. His fingers were tight on the weapon controls as he tracked another collector drone weaving through the stars. "I've got one on the left," he said. "Firing now." Twin blasts flew from the underbelly of their ship. They struck the drone in mid-turn, sending it spinning into debris. A second followed close behind. Zale-Theris adjusted their angle sharply. "Brace, another dive incoming." The collector ship above them, massive and shadow black, charged a new beam. A red circle of energy formed beneath its hull, growing. Brighter every second. They're targeting the largest cluster, she said. They want to wipe out both command vessels at once. Then we stop them first, Eli growled. Even if we get close, we can't damage their shields, she replied. He looked over. But we can get inside, right? She blinked. You're insane. He leaned in. You said I made a choice. I'm making another one. For a moment, her gaze didn't break from his. Then, silently, she adjusted course and pushed the ship into a steep climb. As they rose, the red beam reached critical levels. Vayari and human fleets scattered, but they were too close. Quan's voice came through the comms, strained. We can't stop that beam. We're losing the window unless someone gets close. Eli opened the channel. We're on it. Just keep your eyes open. Quan shouted back. What the hell are you? But he cut the signal. They were already diving. Zale guided the ship straight toward the collector dreadnought. Its surface was smooth, shifting like living metal. Energy pulsed across it. The ship's central mouth, a hangar of some kind, glowed faint blue. That's our entry, Zale said. But if we miss it, we don't miss. The stealth ship dropped fast, twisting through beams and debris. One of the smaller collector drones clipped their side, but Zale kept the ship level. They aimed for the hangar like an arrow. The mouth opened slowly. Too slowly. Come on, come on. Eli whispered. Then, at the last second, the jaws of the dreadnought split fully, and they shot inside. The moment they passed through the threshold, the sound vanished. Inside, the air was dense, red, and humming. It wasn't just metal. It felt organic, like the ship itself was alive. Zale landed them in a long, glowing corridor. She pulled a small device from her sleeve. This bomb won't destroy the entire ship, but it will take out the core of their energy systems. Eli nodded. Then let's find their heart. They moved quickly through the strange halls. The walls moved slightly, pulsing like lungs. Strange shapes watched them from above, not drones, but something else. Something waiting. I don't like this, Eli muttered. Zale led them into a chamber filled with floating crystals, red, gold, and white. At the center, a massive orb of red energy pulsed slowly. That's the core, she said. Help me plant the charges. As they moved toward it, something dropped from the ceiling. A tall figure, taller than any Vayari. It had 6 limbs, long and thin, and a head like a polished skull. Its voice spoke directly into their minds, not their ears. You are not the first to resist, it said. But you will be the last. Eli raised his blaster. That's what they all say. The creature moved lightning fast. It slashed at him, knocking the weapon away. Zale blocked the next strike with her blade, but the creature was stronger than anything they had faced. Eli tackled it, forcing it off balance. Zale rolled and slammed her blade into its neck. A screech filled their minds. The creature fell, twitching, then lay still. Eli stood up, bruised but breathing. Let's finish this. They planted the bomb near the orb. Zale activated the timer. 60 seconds. They ran back toward the ship. As the timer counted down, the dreadnought started to shift. Its walls trembled. Lights blinked red. Alarms pulsed deep within. They jumped into the ship just as the chamber behind them exploded. Fire and pressure slammed into craft, but Zale pushed it forward. The ship burst through the hangar gate and out into space. Fire behind them. The dreadnought's energy beam collapsed before it could fire. Its shields flickered, then fell. Now vulnerable, the human and Vayari fleets opened fire together. Missiles, torpedoes, cannons. The collector dreadnought cracked in half. A massive shockwave spread through the sky. The remaining drones screeched and scattered, but they were too late. One by one, they were hunted down. Silence returned. Eli sat back in his seat, heart still pounding. Zael'thera looked at him, her eyes filled with something more than relief. Something deeper. You didn't just save me, she said softly. You saved them all. He looked at her, breathing hard. I didn't do it for them. The battlefield was quiet now. Wreckage floated in space like frozen shadows. The great collector dreadnought was gone, reduced to twisted metal and drifting sparks. The stars around it no longer felt cold. They felt open. Eli sat beside Zael'thera. Inside their darkened ship, both still catching their breath. Alarms had stopped. The damage warning lights dimmed. Their bodies were bruised. Blood stained Eli's collar. Zael had a thin cut across her cheek. But they were alive. A soft chime lit up the front console. Commander Quan requesting visual. Eli said, then tapped the screen. Sarah's face appeared, rough with smoke and sweat. Her eyes widened when she saw them. You crazy bastards. Actually did it. Eli gave a tired smile. We aim to impress. Zael'thera leaned forward. Status of both fleets? Minimal losses. Most drones were destroyed after the dreadnought fell. A few fled, if you can believe it. But they're gone for now, Zael nodded. They'll be back, someday. Then we'll be ready, Quan replied. She paused, then added, Earth Command and the Vayari High Council want answers. But more than that, they want to meet. Together, they want to talk. Eli raised an eyebrow. You mean peace talks? Not just talks, Quan said. They're calling it the Starborn Accord. You two scared the galaxy into remembering why peace matters. The screen went dark. Zael leaned back, silent. She stared out at the stars for a long moment. I never thought I'd live to see peace again. Not like this. Not as a queen. But as a woman beside someone who simply chose me. Eli looked over. Do you want to go back to the throne? She turned to him. I don't think the throne exists anymore. Not the one I sat on. The old way is broken. If I return, it won't be as the ruler they remember. He nodded slowly. Then what will you be? She smiled softly. Maybe something new. Maybe something real. He reached out and took her hand. They didn't need more words. Weeks passed. The Starborn Accord was signed on neutral ground, an artificial station built between Earth's Mars colony and the outer Vayari satellite ring. Leaders from both sides came in silence, surrounded by the wreckage of what had almost been a war. Eli stood near the edge of the glass chamber, watching delegates speak in 10 languages. Beside him, Zael wore no crown, no royal armor. Just a simple gown made of silver. Fabric and starlight threads. Jertan approached and gave her a respectful nod. You destroyed what we feared to face. The council now sees you differently. I don't want their pity, she said calmly. It's not pity, he replied. It's respect. He looked at Eli. And you? Human, you walked into our empire with no army, no shield, and still managed to change everything. I had help, Eli said, smiling at Zael. After the signing, Zael and Eli walked alone through the empty corridor of the station. You ever think about that wish? He asked quietly. All the time, she said. If you could go back, would you offer it again? She stopped walking. Yes, but this time I wouldn't call it a wish. I'd call it a beginning. They stepped into the observation chamber, where space stretched forever in every direction. Zael'thera turned to him. You chose me once, she said. Not for power. Not for gain. Just because you saw me. And I still do, he whispered. He pulled a small object from his pocket, an old earth ring. Plain but elegant. Her eyes widened. Zael, he said, voice soft. I don't know what tomorrow looks like. I don't even know if peace will last, but if it doesn't, I want to face it with you. She took the ring, held it in her palm like something sacred. She looked up, and for the first time, the Eternal Queen looked like a woman with a future. You once asked for nothing. she said. So now, I offer you everything. She kissed him not as royalty, but as a partner. The stars outside didn't blink. The galaxy didn't pause. But somewhere in the great quiet of space, a bond was formed that no treaty could match. Not of war. Not of duty, but of choice, and love.